So you've heard people are making a killing in Turo and you want to know if it's worth it in 2024. Well, today I'm going to share with you how I grew my Turo business in 2023, how much I made, and if I think Turo is still worth it. Now, I promise I'm going to get to the point and tell you how much I made last year, but I first want to give you some context so that if you are actually deciding to do a Turo business, you have all the information that I'm going to give you. So first off, I started with my own personal vehicle, my 2018 Cadillac Escalade. And for anybody who is thinking about getting into Turo, number one, the first thing I would advise you to do is see if you even like the business. So tour your car, see if it's something that you even want to do, and then you can talk about actually scaling up, getting more vehicles in your fleet, and really taking this serious as a business opportunity. So I started last year in March of 2023. I put my Escalade up and instantly I started getting reservations rolling in. Well, at the time I was working fully remote. I really had the flexibility because most of the time my reservations were going out on the weekends. And so we really just used our one car as our family car and it really started to work out great. However, I saw an opportunity with Turo for me to add more cars to my fleet to make our everyday life a little bit more flexible and to offer a variety of vehicles to the people I was renting with. Now, you'll see a lot of things online about what cars you should buy for Turo and who you should rent for, if you should do delivery, if you should only do pickup. I chose to continue to do delivery and I also have pickup from my house. Now, I do advise you pick some public parking lot that isn't your house so people don't have your personal address. Not saying that anything has happened, but that is one thing that you do want to consider. Now, I added 2 more vehicles to my fleet in June and July of 2023. I went out and bought a 2020 BMW 5 Series, and then I also, in my LLC, I actually bought a 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Summit Edition. Now, I will tell you how I'm running my business and you can infer if this is how you want to run your business. I personally did not want to be in the volume business. You can definitely go out, buy cash cars, $8,000, $10,000 cars, and rent your cars for, a modest $35 to $50 a day. And people will rent them. However, I personally feel that you are going to be incurred with a lot more stress and risk than you might with a more reliable car, more expensive car, and more of a luxury vehicle. I rent all of my cars were anywhere from $80 to $120 a day. So my main thought when I started this Turo business was to not get rich off of Turo. Really, how I looked at Turo was replacing a bill. So if I made enough money to replace a bill, I was happy. If it replaced a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of my daycare bill for the month, then I was happy. And that's how you have to look at it, right? Also, another thing that you really want to do is you cannot have an emotional attachment to your vehicles anymore. These are your vehicles that you are using for your business. Now, when you get started with Turo, they offer you 4 different insurance plans because that's the first thing that anyone asks me. Well, what happens if somebody damages the vehicle? Now, all of my cars are on the 75-25 plan. What that means is that whatever that fare is, let's say it's $100 just to use round numbers, right? You are gonna make $75 from that fare and Turo is gonna take $25 from that fare. If you are on that plan, the deductible is $250 per incident. So if someone does damage your car, the damage is $1,000, you would owe $250 for your deductible, and then Turo will send you the $750 for the remainder of that damage. And it goes up and up as you get more of that rental cost. So it goes from 75-25, then there's an 80-20 plan, 85-15 plan, and then 90-10. And obviously, as you go up in that scale, the deductible is a lot higher for you if there is a damage claim that's put on that vehicle. So just for the peace of mind, I've stayed with the 75-25 plan. As I scale up and build that business banking account up, I probably will move up as I will be self-insuring because I will have the cash in my business banking account to cover any of that deductible so that I can actually take in more of that money instead of getting charged fees from Turo. Now, I know one of your questions is probably going to be, well, have you ever had any incidents? Well, I have. So when I first started, we actually had our Range Rover still, and I did have that on the Turo app. And crazy enough, this lady rented it for about 10 days. I believe she had her son, who was 19, 20 years old, driving the vehicle. Wasn't really happy with that, but it is what it is. Came back with the trunk. There was damage to the underbelly of the trunk. And honestly, the reason why I continue to do Turo is their incident process was pretty seamless. I took pictures of before and after and sent it off to Turo's claim. They pretty much gave me an appraisal of what the damage was going to be. And I also got an appraisal from my own mechanic shop. And they were within $500 of each other. But literally, what Turo will do is they will Venmo or Zelle you the money minus your security deposit. So at the time it was $250. So they literally Venmoed me, I believe it was around $6,000. That Range Rover was expensive, to say the least, to repair anything. It needed a whole new lift gate. But other than that, I have not had any issues with Turo, so that is what I will say. Personally, I attribute that to the level of car that I choose to rent out on Turo, but to each their own. And the last little piece that I'll give you about how I'm running my Turo business, because there's a lot of conflicting different things on YouTube, is a lot of people are just only taking, they don't do deliveries for their Turo rides. So me personally, I don't live close to the airport, but I do have a lot of flexibility because I am a remote worker. So typically what I would do is I do offer delivery to Tampa's airport and Sarasota's airport. They're about 40 to 45 minutes from me each way. So it really does work out for me. Now I do charge a fee to deliver to that. So the disadvantage that I have is I'm competing against people that offer free delivery because they live close to an airport. So if you do live within a 10-15 minute radius to the airport, this is something that you definitely should strongly consider, because you're gonna have a much bigger competitive advantage than other people around you. Now, there are a lot of people that say that they don't do delivery at all. Personally, I have found it worthwhile. The reason is many of the people who have rented my Escalade or my BMW and they live locally, they've taken it to Jacksonville, Miami. They tend to put more miles on the vehicle. And typically what I see when I do deliveries is the people that come for vacation, they drive the car for maybe 100, 200 miles because they just need a vehicle while they're on vacation. And usually it's not that many miles. So I offer delivery really because it keeps the mileage low, honestly, on what they do. So all of my cars, I put a 200-mile maximum on those cars per day. So if you're renting the car for 5 days, you have 1,000 miles that you can do. Rarely do people ever reach that mark, but if you are renting locally, usually those people are using your vehicle as a way to, maybe not put miles on their car, or they're going to a special event, whatever that may be. So that is what I've seen. That's been my experience. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm sorry that it took so long. I just wanted to give you as much context as I could so that I could get to this final moment and let you know that how much Turo paid me in 2023. So looking at this, Turo paid me $26,315. Now, that was me starting this back in March with the two vehicles that we own, the Range Rover and the Cadillac Escalade. And then shortly after, June, July, me adding the BMW and the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. So some people may look at this and say, oh, well, that's not really that much money. Personally, for me, it replaced the bill for me. It was seamless. Many of the times it would be when we're on vacation sometimes, and the car would just be sitting in the driveway. And so the way I look at it is if someone's going to use my car and pay for it, and I was not going to be using it anyway, it's a win for me. And then this is basically off of a half of a year of sample size. I now am an all-star host, and so we will see what this year yields. I would imagine that it's probably going to yield at least double, if not triple, the amount of revenue this year. So that's how much Turo paid me last year. Now, I will give you my thoughts on if I think it's worth it or not. Personally, I think it's worth it, but everyone's mileage is going to vary. I think if you are close to an airport and you have the ability to offer delivery to that airport, I think that's a very competitive advantage that you are going to have, and you are going to have a step up above other hosts out there. Secondly, if you have the flexibility to be able to accommodate delivery and maybe, be able to deliver on hours that other people are limiting themselves on when they can deliver, it's going to be good for you. The one thing I would say is if you are going to be emotionally attached to your vehicle, and I completely get that, right? If you're going to be emotionally attached to your vehicle and you're not going to treat this as a business, then I don't think Turo is for you. I also don't think that you should finance up to your eyeballs and go out there and get Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and G-Wagons to put on the application. Personally, I have not seen that's beneficial depending on your market. So it really just depends. And then yes, the last one would be your market. You really need to know if there is a demand for it. It's as easy as kind of going into the guest app, seeing what cars are available, what their calendar looks like, how long they've been booked out, and things of that nature. So that is my spiel on Turo. That's how much they paid me last year. I am going to continue to run my Turo business and probably will be adding some cars this year. But for me, it's been worth it. I think that they've handled the damage claim extremely efficiently. I think the app has been great. It's been great to meet new people. It's been great to kind of add that customer service that I feel is kind of lost in that rental business. And, I usually start the ride off with some goodies and a basket for some of my guests. So I've gotten to a 4.96 rating. So I personally think it is worth it, but again, I think everyone's mileage is going to vary, and if it is something that you want to try, I would try it with your personal vehicle first. Make sure it's something that you think that you can do and that you want to do, and then move forward from there. Well, there you have it, y'all. I appreciate you guys sticking around to see how much Turo paid me last year. If you got some value from this, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. The future I see is up to me. Take care.